Dearest gentle reader, in preparation for the upcoming season, members of the ton have challenged their inner modiste to create all manner of gown and frock. However, not all young ladies covet evenings on the ton. In fact, some much prefer the solitude of home, the warmth of a fire, and perhaps a scandal sheet from London's most notorious author. Such ladies have no real need of illustrious gowns, but that in no way means the modern sleep attire will do. Most unseemly. Season 3 of Bridgerton is coming. The nerdy seamstresses of the world have been busy making regency gowns to mark the occasion, but I, on the other hand, will not be doing that. I thought about it, and then I thought, I will never wear this. I never leave the house. My idea of a night out is going to Co-op after 6 PM to buy the discounted bread. As you've all no doubt noticed by now, I live in my dressing gown. Tiny bit cursed, which got me thinking. I have always wanted to own some really fancy princess-like pyjamas. I don't think I've ever watched any kind of historical period piece without longing after the pyjamas more than the dresses. So, we are going to make a regency nightgown, possibly a robe depending on my levels of exhaustion post Met Gala make. So I have something really nice and fancy yet comfortable to wear when the next season of Bridgerton consumes my entire existence. I would also like to take a quick moment to say that my comment section is a spoiler-free zone. Please like to ask that anybody keep anything plot specific out of the comments. Thank you very much, and let's get on with the make. You want to hear something shocking? I bought a pattern to make this. Instead of just making my own, I bought one. Do you want to hear something not shocking? I've already decided not to use it. So we're gonna draft our own. Trust me, I'm not happy about this either, but the more and more I look at the pattern, the more I don't like it because it's not exactly what I want. And if I'm making this, I want it to be exactly what I want. As always, I'm gonna make more work for myself. But as a little compromise, I am going to use the train pattern from that set because a skirt train is just a skirt train. At least that saves me one little tiny job, but the rest of it I'm gonna do it myself. First job of the project is to not assemble and cut out the pattern pieces, but to go to the mannequin and start drafting my own one instead. More work! The studio is an absolute cave, by the way. Not yet tidied up from the Met Gala. The space I am working with is literally the spot that I am stood in. I just want to get a rough shape for the bodice going. I have some calico somewhere. I was very, very basic with this. I only wanted a very simple shape for the bodice. With the mannequin set to my size, I pinned on some scrap calico and traced out the shape I wanted. After cutting out the front and back pieces, I made a few adjustments to the length and the shape of the neckline. Rough bodice shape, and when I say rough, I mean rough. This size when it's finished, but when I cut it out of the actual fabric, it will be significantly bigger than this because I want it to be gathered in to this shape. Yeah, that's the plan. I have a loose idea in my head of how to go about this. I don't currently have the brain cells to try and put that into words, so we'll just see what happens. All right. Good. My mic died when I was upstairs. I've replaced the batteries in it, but I don't know if the batteries I replaced were actually fully charged or not, so there's a good chance it will actually just die again. Just while I know the mic is definitely working, I've cut out the train pattern that I actually am using, and I'm going to get the skirt cut out first, both the front and the back. We'll then do the bodice pieces and then the sleeves as well. A little bit concerned I might not have enough fabric to do puff sleeves. If not, I might do a petal sleeve, and if I really just don't have enough fabric, we will leave it sleeveless. As always, improvising as we go. I was right, my mic died again. So we'll just go with that until the batteries are recharged. This is all of the fabric I have got left for the entire bodice and puff sleeves. So I think it's safe to say we're not doing puff sleeves. The one time I don't buy way more than I think I need, and I actually ran. So this is just the front panel, and this one will not need extending anywhere near as much as the back one will, because most of the gathering will be at the back. By doing it this way, the embroidery will be going in a different direction on the bodice than it is on the skirt, but I don't really have a choice because this is the only way I'm going to actually get a bodice. Pin the skirts together, I'm going to take them upstairs and sew together the seams, then I'm going to actually do all of the hem stuff now, and then I'm going to start working on the bodice pieces. Don't know specifically what, but I'm going to start doing stuff with them to try and turn it into something. Whilst not kidding when I say I have not tied it up yet. For the record, I'm still not going to, we're just going to find creative new places to shove this on. It is so warm in here. Just need to change the thread to white and then we're in business. So grateful to have the new machine, but I absolutely hate how it sounds. I joined the skirt pieces together, and as this is something I actually want to be able to wear and wash with ease, I put in the extra effort to flat fell all of the seams afterwards, which I have never done before. I am terrible for leaving raw fraying seams inside all of my projects. I also did a roll hem on the skirt to neaten off the bottom edge too. I was really happy with how the dress was looking already. I loved the baby trains so much, I could already feel my lazy princess dreams coming true. Today, we are going to be focusing on making the bodice, as the skirt is pretty much complete other than attaching it to the bodice. I have been thinking about this a lot this morning, and I think the best way to go about it is to make a lining to go inside, because that way it's something that will very easily neaten off the neckline. I feel like it will also create a very easy way for me to make the little channels to be able to gather it in. And I feel like I'm not describing that very well, but I know what I mean. For the neckline, shoulder, all the way around to the back kind of area, to thread something through that to pull it tight like a drawstring, I'm going to use this string that I found, because that one won't be exposed at all. It'll be fully encased in it. The one that's going to go underneath the bust, you will be able to see, because that will be more of a normal drawstring in that it will expand, and then when you pull it in tight, you'll tie it at the front a little bow, like with pajama trousers or something. I don't really want to use the really old cream looking string for that. I want to actually have something that will look nice for the dress, as it will be visible. And I have already cut out a very long piece of fabric to do that with. That is roughly the game plan for today. First things first is I'm just going to cut out some quick lining pieces. I have no space in here. Once I machined the lining to the fashion layer, I turned it right side out and pressed the edges, and then stitched about ½ an inch from the edge to create a small channel along the neckline. I tried many methods to get the string through this channel. Various needle types did not work, neither did the paperclip method, as the channel wasn't wide enough. In the end, the winner was actually sellotape. I made a little makeshift aglet, a word I know thanks to Phineas and Ferb, and it just about worked, though let me tell you, it was not a method without suffering. Oh my lord. I've put the string through one of them and my hand is cramping so very badly. That was very fiddly. The sellotape method did work, however, so I'm going to do that again for the second one, which hopefully won't take as long because it's a shorter piece, although my hand is really hurting now. On the bright side, the pain is worth it because it does actually look really good having the drawstring style gathers. Okay, that was actually a lot easier than the first one. The first one was a nightmare. So as you can see, these are actually turning out pretty cute. And I really like the gathered effect that the drawstring gives, rather than just doing it with thread. Obviously these are not pulled to the right size, so I think we're just gonna attach the panels together at the side seams and then whack it on the mannequin. I apologise about the focus. I accidentally left it on auto, which my sleep deprived brain actually did a lot throughout this video, so I apologise for all shifty focus shots. And more, it looks really big and poofy. But obviously we've got our skirt pinned underneath. This will be cinched in and another drawstring to the skirt that can then expand back out to put it on, and then you tie it back in. I think I'm just going to try that on to see if I'm happy with the fit. I'm actually very happy with that. Gonna sew the shoulder seams. You know, I still haven't made a decision on the sleeves, so we're gonna ignore that for a little bit longer. Once the shoulder seams are in and I've neatened them off, it is then time to attach bodice to skirt, which is both exciting and scary. I've been debating whether or not to add a lining to the skirt. Still haven't entirely decided. I might, I don't know, just something simple maybe. I really don't know. I'm just gonna do the shoulder seams for now, and then I'll decide on that in a little bit. Right now she's starting to look pretty cool, although she does kind of look like a weird two-piece kind of dress. I have decided to add a lining to the skirt because you can already notice the difference between the lined bodice and the not lined skirt. And that difference is going to bug me. So it's more work, but we're going to do it anyway. So back downstairs. I've just spent longer than I would have liked making a lining to go inside the skirt. I think for the sake of ease, I'm going to stitch the lining to the skirt first, and then I will add the bodice on afterwards, because I think if I try and do the lining, the skirt and the bodice all in one go, I am bound to get something wrong. Also, I have been thinking a lot about the sleeves. I'm kind of thinking I might not do sleeves. I think I might just neaten off the edge and have them as a sleeveless nightdress. I've just been looking at it on the mannequin and I kind of like how it looks without sleeves, and I figure if I change my mind at a later date, I can always go in and add them on, so. Lining attached to skirt. Not bad. Time to attach the bodice. Attaching the bodice was no easy task. I tried my best to line up all of the seams whilst also trying to keep the back gathers evenly distributed, while also trying to keep my seam allowance big enough to create a channel afterwards. And that might not sound that hard, but I'm actually not that advanced at sewing, so it was for me. For the waist channel, I simply flat filed the joining seam, which did create a completely sealed channel, but I made 2 small incisions on the front of the dress so I could put the drawstring through there, and embroidered around these as well to neaten them off. I also made my little drawstring, which was not even remotely neat, and finished off the night by using the trusty sellotape aglet method once more. Yes! Okay, there we go. Functional drawstring. And that explains why I'm not a ballerina. We're going to be making the robe. I once again bought a pattern. I'm actually going to be using this one. I think I might make a couple adjustments along the way, but primarily I'm going to be using it. I had no idea how big patterns could be. And I've got this entire wad. I imagine it's probably going to be my whole morning. In terms of fabric, really nice. Purple. Look how nice that is. And light and slightly like see-through. Nice light summery kind of robe cover, which is what I wanted to go for. This is very much a summer ensemble. I also have a mild, not so mild, full-blown obsession with tea gowns. which is obviously much later Victorian period kind of stuff. But I loved them so very much that I definitely absolutely 1010% want to make one day. I feel like that is going to be my bigger, heavier, more winter style robe, whereas this can be a nice light summery one. Now I'm very grateful when I printed these off that I had the foresight to make sure that they were labelled in the printing options. The trouble is going to be that they're not bordered, so lining them up might be a little bit difficult. This might not look like much, but I had to do this 6 times to get the full pattern. This process genuinely made me consider buying knee pads. I have this much left and my tape ran out, so I've got to go find another one. My replacement tape has now also run out and I've got this much left. I couldn't find any more tape, so I used some food stickers. And the rest of it has been stickered together, but at least we are now finished. And here we have the completed pattern. I will be honest, I have eliminated most of the pieces to save me time and also change how I'm actually going to construct it, because there was actually a lot that I didn't end up using. Before assembling anything, I decided to hem all of the edges as the robe wasn't going to be lined and I didn't want it to fray. This actually proved to be a nightmare. For some reason the stitching kept skipping and it didn't feel secure at all. No idea why I did that, but after much time wasted messing around with it, I discovered switching to black thread just made it work for some reason. So then I went back and did it all again in black thread. Granted, the black stitching isn't neat, but that's because the fabric is slightly stretchy and I was definitely pulling it too tight when I stitched it. I started the robe yesterday, took a very long time, painfully long time, to cut out all the pattern pieces and then all the fabrics. We didn't get massively far. I'm up to this hipster vest looking phase, as this will, as you can see, be quite a sheer see-through kind of robe. I am being really good and I am flat felling all of my seams so they will be neat inside and out, as it will technically will still be visible. The neatest and most work I've ever put into anything I've made ever. Usually the inside of things look like complete chaos. So somebody please be proud of all the work I'm putting into this one. From here I will be adding on the sleeves and then we'll be going back downstairs to start pinning all of the skirt panels together and then bringing that up here and then attaching everything all into one singular robe. I've not actually decided how I'm fastening this up yet. Obviously I have strayed away from the pattern a fair bit, but the pattern does still leave it up to you and how you want to fasten it. I don't know, we'll find out. Do I need to be making some markings? First thing I'm going to do is hem the cuffs so that those will be neat. Because like I said, there is no lining in this, everything is just exposed, so I have to neaten everything off before I assemble it. I put the gathering lines in the sleeves ready to attach the bodice. This step actually confused me greatly. In hemming all of the edges, I actually lost all of the markings of where to line everything up to, so I had to do a little bit of guesswork. I have sewn the sleeves on. It was, well, honestly, about as hard as I thought it was going to be, because I always find sleeves really hard. But they're on and I actually really like them. I think I turned out really quite well. So I now have a pretty much completed bodice. Top half of the robe pretty much complete, and I say pretty much because I still need to put in the gather lines underneath each of the bust areas. Time to start sewing the skirt section of the robe panels together, which I don't want to jinx it, hopefully should go quite quickly. that'll be the robe. Oh, okay, I still need to come up with a fastening. Still gonna decide later. On with the skirt. I decided to pin all of the panels together and then take them upstairs and sew them all in one go, which I don't usually do, but I really didn't want to go back and forth downstairs. I didn't film sewing the panels together, but I did film flat felling the seams the next day. But apparently I didn't film joining the bodice and the skirt together either, so let's skip ahead to the results. Well, I love it. It is so ridiculously comfortable. I am 100% wearing this on my lounge around the house days from now on. It makes me so happy. I have definitely achieved exactly what I set out to do with this video. It's comfortable, it makes me feel like a pretty princess. I adore it. I cannot wait to watch season 3 of Bridgerton. It comes out in a couple of days and I'm so excited. It's definitely not neat, especially the robe. And I do technically still have that purple stitching in that I never actually took out, but it's part of its story now, which is my excuse when really I'm just too lazy to take it out. I'll tell you what though, I made this thinking summer pyjamas, nice and like light and airy, but this is really warm. Also love the nightgown. I love how completely flexible it is because of the drawstring thing that I implemented, and it can fit many different sizes because of that, which I love. Thank you for coming along with me on this Bridgerton pyjama make. I had great fun with it. Mild stress, but that comes with any sewing project. I am so comfortable right now. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you want to see some more of my projects, and I will see you all in my next video. Longing after all of the there's more than any of the gowns and I would also like to create words. No, you blah. What? Blah blah blah.